Okay friends, today we are going to create the sky for our polar bear. You're going to use a white crayon and you're also going to use a pencil to of course write your name and your teacher's name nice and neatly on the back. On the front, you're going to create some dots. White oil pastel you won't see very well because the paper's white, but you'll be able to see it a little bit. Now I'm not going fast like this. I'm making little circles and kind of pushing to make sure that that white oil pastel gets pretty thick on the paper. That way when I paint over it, you'll still be able to see it. I'm putting most of the white dots near the top of the paper so it looks like the sky has some snow falling into it. And I'm just kind of randomly going around making some little dots all over. You'll have about 5 minutes to do that. Once you've got that finished, we're going to use the Cool Colors with watercolor paint to paint half of our paper. So you're going to use your paintbrush, you're going to add water to wake up the paint, tickle, 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 tickle. We're going to use Cool Colors, so we're also going to use green, tickle, tickle, tickle. And we'll use some blue. This one doesn't have a lot of blue left, but there's some blue-green that'll look nice. So I've got a blue, purple, and a green. Now you're going to use the wet on wet technique. So you'll use some water first, just in a little spot, a little bit of paint, kind of spread that out. It looks really neat, especially when you paint over your white areas. I also like to use a little bit of another color. Oh, that was the same color. So I'm going to use a little bit of another color and I'll kind of zoom this in. I woke up the purple, so I'm going to put some purple on top of that too. And it kind of smears together, especially if you use that water first. You can see where I added the white pastels, you see those white dots. So you're going to keep adding the paint using the Cool Colors, kind of that dabbing dot technique. You don't really have to go slowly, just make sure you get off the edge. And if you want it darker, just add a little bit more of the paint colors to kind of add that darkness to it. And you're only going to paint half of your picture. So I'm going to show you once I've got half of it painted what that's going to look like. All right, so I've got all of my sky painted. Make sure you add lots of water to make that paint kind of glide on smoothly. And then if you want to add a few sort of streaks, add the water to blend it as well. If you go back and add more color, the water is going to help blend that so you get some of those colors blended on top of each other. And if you want to add a few kind of streaks down here to make it look like there's some kind of shadows in the snow, that is kind of interesting. Just a few small lines, not too many, because you want this to look like it's snow. Then the last step is going to be adding a teeny sprinkle of salt. And you just want to get a pinch. And you rub your fingers together and just rub them around over the sky. That's going to make these really cool little white dots. The salt will sort of suck up some of the water and it will make a little teeny white dot. After you do that, you're going to set that aside and let that dry. And you are going to get your polar bear and some scissors, cut around the edge of the polar bear, and then you're going to glue that on top of your painting. Your painting should be fairly dry at that point, and then you're finished. We'll put these in Artsonia probably next week. So if you don't get finished with the polar bear today or you don't put it in Artsonia, don't worry about that. We'll put that in Artsonia next week, and then you're done.